Welcome to A Student of Leadership, a micro-podcast where leaders are made one habit at a time. Hosted by Rob Adams, a leadership veteran with 30 years of experience, this podcast explores key concepts that define exceptional leadership. Each episode delves into a powerful word or strategy, offering practical insights and real-world stories. Whether you're just starting out or an experienced executive, join Rob as he guides you in learning, growing, and leading with purpose.
Imagine this. You have a line cook who's been with you for 3 years. Reliable, solid, and one of your best. And one day, they don't show up. No call, no text. Just gone. Most managers would fire them. Policy violation, make an example, move on. But what if you chose differently? What if you called them, texted them, then drove to their apartment to check on them? Hey everybody, welcome back to A Student of Leadership, powered by Unipro Food Service and our Leadership Development Program, and I am Robert Adams, your micro-podcast host. This is episode 59, and today we're talking about empathy as a leader. Not as a soft skill, but as the business imperative that determines who stays and who leaves. So today, I'd like you to pull up a chair, sit right beside me, because you're at the leadership table. Real leaders, real growth, one table. Now let me finish that story. This is a hypothetical scenario, but it illustrates something very real. You drive to their apartment. They answer the door. And you discover depression, untreated, spiraling, too ashamed to ask for help, too overwhelmed to show up. And here's where most organizations fail. They treat this as a performance issue. They fire the person. They hire someone new. Reload. And according to Cornell University research, that decision just cost them $5,000 in turnover costs. But what if you chose empathy instead? Not sympathy, not pity, empathy. Here's what that looks like in practice. It has 3 distinct parts. First, you use your head. That's cognitive empathy, understanding their situation intellectually. You ask, what's going on? You listen. You learn they're not lazy or unreliable. They're sick and struggling. Then you use your heart. That's the effective empathy, actually feeling what they feel. You don't just understand the problem, you connect with the weight of it. You say, that sounds really hard. Not buck up, not we all have problems. Just, I can see this weighing on you. And then this is the most important part leaders skip. You use your hands. That's the behavioral empathy, taking action based on your understanding and your feeling. You help them find a therapist. You adjust their schedule for appointments. You check in weekly with them, not as their boss, as someone who cares, that shows kindness and respect. 6 months later, they're back, healthy, showing up, training new hires. That's empathy. Head, heart, and hands. All 3 are necessary. Head without heart feels transactional. Heart without hands feels disingenuous. In fact, a recent EY study found that employees see empathy as meaningless when it's not paired with action. Hands without head means you solved the wrong problem. Now, here's why this matters more than ever in 2026. M-Train analyzed 48 million people responses and found we were in an empathy recession. 48 million employee responses, and we found that we were in an empathy recession. Less understanding, less connection between colleagues than ever before. Now, what's the cost? 27% of the employees say their organization is unempathetic. Those employees are 1.5 times more likely to quit in the next 6 months. That's $180 billion in annual attrition costs for unempathetic organizations. Let me share that again. $180 billion in annual attrition costs associated with unempathetic organizations. In food service specifically, the numbers are brutal. 60% of chefs report their work negatively impacts their mental well-being. 69% of organizations can't fill open roles. $5,000 per employee is the average turnover cost, and I will tell you that's on the light side. Translation: empathy isn't soft, it is survival. Now let's talk about a real example. Chick-fil-A consistently ranks number 1 in customer satisfaction in the fast food industry. What's their secret? You got it. Empathy is embedded into operations at every level. Samara Gonzalez-Lopez, a Chick-fil-A operator, states in the company interviews, "I meet with each of my leaders one-on-one at least once per month. We talk about their dreams, their goals, and how I can support them." Now that's cognitive empathy, understanding each person's individual situation. Another operator, Ali Halsfell, describes their approach. "My team members tell me the thing they love most is that anyone can bring an idea. Your voice matters and I want to hear from you." That's effective empathy, creating emotional connection. And Chick-fil-A demonstrates behavioral empathy through action. They're closing on Sundays to prioritize employee well-being over profits, offering $15 million in employee scholarships, creating a clear advancement pathway. These aren't just policies, these are empathy in action. And what's the result of all this? Chick-fil-A's franchisee retention rate has been 96% for nearly 15 years. 96% retention for 15 years. Corporate staff retention hovers at 95 to 97% over that same period of time. See, this isn't soft skills. This is what happens when empathy becomes operational strategy. Now, here's where AI comes in. At the 2025 Canadian Restaurant Leadership Summit, there was an actual panel asking, is it possible to scale empathy with AI? Or are we trading connection for convenience? Well, here's the reality. AI can identify patterns. This employee's performance is declining. AI can flag risks. Burnout indicators detected. AI can optimize schedules. Here's the most efficient shift coverage. But AI cannot drive to someone's apartment to check on them. If you cannot feel the weight of their struggle, it cannot decide that keeping them is worth adjusting operations. So what's the best use of AI here? It provides the data, that's the head part, so you can focus on the connection, the heart, and the action, the hands. You see, technology should enable humanity, not replace it. So here's your invitation for this week. Use all 3 types of empathy with one person. Monday or Tuesday, use your head. Have a 10-minute conversation. Ask, how are you really doing? Listen more than you talk. Understand their situation without trying to fix it yet. On Wednesday or Thursday, use your heart. Acknowledge what they're feeling. That sounds really hard. Don't minimize it. Don't immediately problem solve. Just connect. And Friday, use your hands. Take one action based on what you learned. Adjust their schedule. Connect with them with a resource. Make one change that shows you heard them. Doesn't have to be big, but it has to be real. Monday's Leadership Table newsletter gives you the full framework, cognitive, affective, and behavioral empathy with research on why it matters and a 5-day implementation plan. Wednesday's Breaking Bread breaks it down into a 2-minute empathy practice you can use during any shift. And Friday's The Mindful Leader helps you reflect on empathy boundaries, how to care without burning out yourself. These are all different conversations, but the same commitment to building leaders who actually lead. In an empathy recession, leaders who practice all three types don't just reduce turnover. They create the kind of workplace people don't want to leave. You see, food gave us roots. Leadership gives us purpose. Real leaders, real growth, one table. I'm Robert Adams, your micro podcast host, signing off for now. I'll see you next time at the table. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Student of Leadership. Leadership is about who we become and how we help others grow. If you found value in this podcast, share it with a fellow leader and connect with Rob on LinkedIn or leave a review. New episodes drop weekly, so don't forget to subscribe to stay connected. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and leading with intention. Remember, great leaders are made one habit at a time. See you next time on A Student of Leadership.